not too important.
Perfect.
Taking a while to start. Oh, welcome back to On Your Hero, and we're going to be talking about the police doing nothing. All right, go ahead.
Oh, you saw it.
Oh, you mean about the situation that just happened?
Yes.
All right. Well, basically, saw police at my neighbor's house, and they seemed really shocked about like the person that lived there, light skinned dude, was to live with this white chick, and the police was talking to him, and he seemed really shocked, like, well, why aren't you going to do anything? And he said he was like shocked, like, what? She can just do whatever she wants and get away with it? Well, there's a chick that lives next to him. We call her Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang because she'd be waving a gun at strangers. Like when they walked past her house, like there was like this couple that had two dogs and a baby in a baby stroller. She was waving a gun at them and stuff. And they just walking past her house. Well, she must have did something because I got a camera that lets me know about what's going on outside, stuff like that, and it always pops on. It's like Wise camera. So what happened is that we saw her leave 10 minutes before the police arrived. Then we see her re-arrive 10 minutes after the police have already left. So that just lets us know that she's got to look out for somebody. I mean, we already went through that in our apartments. Basically, when we used to live in the apartment, so we already said enough about that. But there you go. And he was just looking like the police ain't gonna do nothing. What, she's invincible? And yeah, we've seen her seem pretty invincible. Like all she did was one time she's had a police at her place like 4 different times, and she'll make sure she wears eye shades when they show up, and she'll show as much boobs as possible, do like this, wiggle them around as much as possible, and they just, I guess when they're looking at that, they seem to forget what they're there for, and they leave. Well, thing is that we know what that's about. Okay?
Yeah.
We know exactly what that's about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, what that's about goes back to when we were in an apartment. So I'll kind of make it brief. So we've lived in a couple of apartments. First apartment was fine, quiet, good neighborhood. But then what happened is we lived on the first floor, and we didn't know that living on the first floor that somebody could live above you, and then they could be stomping around and things like that and interrupting your sleep. I told when we was in the first apartment, like towards the end of us living there, we decided to move because basically it was guy upstairs and start off with one guy, and then these other guys where it's like they were taking shifts living there and everything. I mean, kind of the end of it is just that, like, you know, we did all we can do. We did what they did. And it's kind of shocking because we're in the house now and those people are in the house too. So in an apartment, you know, you'll get told, you know, about your neighbor upstairs. You'll be told, oh, well, they're just, you know, they're just kids. They ain't had nobody over. They ain't doing anything, you know. They just living their life. You know, even by the manager of the building, you'll get told that kind of stuff, you know. The thing is though, I want to tell people to be concerned if you see that there's people coming in and out and stuff like that, all hours of the night, stomping around and stuff like that, and then trying to come downstairs, try to open your door, you know what I'm saying, trying to get a fight with you, making plans with other people in the apartment, you know. That's why in an apartment, it's a good idea to be aware of who's, you know, in the hallways and stuff like that. Like for us, we was right next to the door, so we could see people coming in and out, you know. And people might say, you know, you guys are probably paranoid because you're being aware of what's outside and who's outside walking past the door. Well, the reason why we were concerned at the time, and you guys might watch videos about it, but we're concerned because at one point, there was times where people were standing outside our apartment door, listening to what was going on in our place. Okay. So I don't know about you, but that's kind of unnerving. And you may say, well, they can't hear anything. Well, if you come in the door in that apartment we had, our apartment was next to the door, so people can kind of hear what we were saying because there was a gap in the door.
Oh, don't you worry about that. Because the same guy that I heard through the door talking about raping her and stuff like that and making a plan to do that stuff with her is the same dude that said, "Oh, I heard you singing in your house. You sound really good. You should be on American Idol." That's the same dude that said that.
To me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's weird. So I'm not trying to really dwell on the apartment thing, but a lot of times when you're in an apartment, you're gonna think that oh well, I got my own place, and if something goes down, people bother me, stomping above my head, I can, do something about it, And that's kind of what we thought. And we went through the process of calling the police and stuff and talking to apartment people, nothing happened. We end up moving to another place. Of course, before we end up moving, the day we end up moving, the guy upstairs goes berserk and shit and gets somebody to come with an unmarked card. Probably heard him say that, right? Trying to get in a fight with his family. Yeah.
That's what our neighbor tries to do right now. She be having the music all extra super loud, parks right in front of the actual house instead of this right in front of this house instead of on her side of the street where her house is, and she has plenty of parking.
Yeah.
And she'll open up her car doors and blast her music extremely fucking loud and just to get on us because she wants to fight so bad. And so she'll do the same stuff that apartment people did, parking behind you, trying to wedge you in with people that they know and
cars
with their own cars, wedging you in tight and stuff like that. So then when you try to ask them to move, they want to start a fight. I want to fight so bad.
And I mean, apartment people too. I mean, you can tell people came from an apartment. They'll follow you. They'll be waiting for you to leave and come back. Like you said, they'll park behind you to kind of wedge you in. If you're in the middle, somebody's parked in front of you and behind you. They'll try to find your car, drive around the block looking for your car, around the neighborhood looking for you. Next thing you know, they end up at stores that you go to that you never seen their ass at before. You go to the bank, here comes this dude from upstairs. At the bank, you go to the cashier check. You know what I'm saying? So you go to the grocery store, there they are. You know what I'm saying? This shit gets, you guys may think, oh, it's just at the apartment. It's not just at the apartment because they'll go looking for you.
Your ass leave and you try to fucking leave and you go out the back. One of the motherfuckers is waiting out the back of the apartment to see when you come out. They text a dude in the front to follow you. Here they come, follow you and stuff. Got a dude in the Yukon waiting for you to come home. Then they texting the dude upstairs and texting in a group message. Got everybody on group messages. Everybody gets the same message all at once and shit about when you coming home, when you arriving and stuff like that. Hell, I freaking escaped their little plan, went around the back and saw the dude upstairs. And I was ready to, I was already pissed when I saw him. And I think he knew because he sure backed the hell up. I'm like, damn, if you Mr. Inventor, why are you backing up? We can go ahead and do this thing in the back. Nobody's watching us.
So you guys may say, well, once you guys kind of, paranoid, seeing too much into it. No, we're not paranoid. Because I used to think, I'd be like, well, NYU here, maybe he's going a little, NYU here, you thinking too much of it. Oh, they're not doing that.
Until we taped up them freaking air ducts. And then she heard him go crazy because he couldn't hear us as well and hear just instinctively what we were saying.
Yeah, so the guy upstairs, when NYU Hero taped up the vent where we get the air conditioner and heat stuff like that, he taped the dude was listening, and when it sounded like he could hear us, then he ran down the stairs and shit, ran down the back stairs. I was like, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? What was that?
I left a note on the people downstairs, hey, that's not us making all that noise. That's the person upstairs. Y'all don't gotta be hitting the ceiling on us. It's not us. We walking quietly. We shut our cabinets quietly.
Yeah.
Toilets, we're not slamming the toilet down. The refrigerator, we're not slamming. We're not slamming the microwave. We're doing everything we can to be quiet. Then come to find out, the freaking dude upstairs has keys to the freaking apartment downstairs too, and it's him going backing up and down. That's him doing that.
Downstairs. Yeah, so really nobody lived down there. I thought people did live down there at some point, but I guess it was him, and he had keys to the place. And you guys may say, how do we know he had keys? Well, there were some, the white girls moved in. There were some white girls that moved in. we've been there for a while, and their understanding was the guy upstairs was the janitor. Okay, and I'm like, janitor?
And
he's not a janitor.
A group, I saw him come out of people's house, and they had a baby in that house. And right after they had left, he didn't went in their house.
Yeah. He was going in and out of people's apartments and stuff, downstairs below us and stuff like that.
On the phone with the landlord, talking about, I'm coming out the house right now. Dude in cahoots with them, knowing he's coming out the house. He said, okay, well, make sure you lock it so they don't know he was in there.
And that made us kind of concerned too at our place, which is why we got a camera.
Yes, it was like, well, there must not be no damn privacy. And then guess what?
Yeah.
The police officer actually said there was no privacy. So I was like, wait a minute. So they can get your social security number when you're trying to do business on the phone, get your birth date, and ruin you and steal your identity and all that because there's no privacy. They can do that. And in the case of that white dude who was a supposed old man, yeah, they can do that.
I didn't know that you didn't have privacy in an apartment. Yeah, that's crazy.
Which was not what it said. At least, and by the way, he's protected too because his sexual orientation might be pedophilia, or his sexual orientation might be a pedophile, or his sexual orientation might be that he's gay. So he's protected. Asian chick said that, but I found out why she said that because the person that was right next to her was a gay chick, part of the LGBTQ. But they might as well add P in there because I'm like, well, if he's registered, pedophile, why is he protected?
Yeah, and when he's saying an Asian chick, he's talking about this Asian chick, this was the same Asian chick. So this Asian chick was a police officer. She was one of them that helped us move from the first apartment to the second apartment that I thought, if I spend more money on an apartment, then I won't have these kind of problems if it's more money. That's what I thought. I was thinking, it'll be better because it's more money. Wrong. If you're thinking you can spend more money on an apartment, townhouse, I'm just saying apartment or townhouse because I know those kind of similar. Apartment, I think an apartment, townhouse, or condo. Yeah. Apartment would be a place that you rent. A townhouse is where you're kind of next to people or something like that. Even though they're not above you or below you, they're kind of next to you and shit. And then like a condo is basically an apartment that you rent, but not a rent. I'm sorry. It's an apartment that you buy. That's what a condo is. So it's an apartment that you own, but you can still have problems with people, whether you have an apartment where you're renting from somebody, townhouse where you may have the upstairs, downstairs and stuff like your sister has. And then condo, even if you own the apartment that you live in, regardless of any of these places you go to, you can still find yourself having issues with people, and you may not even have issues with them. A lot of times what happens is there's people who they target you, because I remember one of the times the police came and stuff, because what were we trying to do? We were trying to get sleep, basically, so we can go to work and stuff like that. We didn't really, pick fights with people or anything like that. All we did was that we just tried to, live peacefully and stuff like that. And we thought, okay, well, when we come home from work, NY Hero can play his games. I can be on my computer, looking up stuff, and we can have a peaceful existence. No, you can't. Not if you have somebody above you. There's been in the first apartment, there was a few people that lived there. There's maybe 5 people that lived above us and stuff like that. And when we first got there, it was fine. It was cool. It's a wide area. You think, it's gonna be peaceful. But what we found out too is that there was a lady across the street that was white, and she was having issues with her upstairs neighbor. And she was, having to deal with those people until they finally left.
Because she said it was 2 young girls up there banging around.
Yeah, until they left.
Yeah.
And we talked to her when we was trying to figure out what to do, because the situation with people in the first apartment was just bad. Of course, second one was bad too, but first place we was thinking, okay, well, she went through this, so she can kind of help us and we can try to figure out what to do and stuff. And it's not like we didn't go through different resorts, to try to fix the situation. I mean, we did a lot of things. What did we do? We went to, first time I found out that there was somebody moving in, I was kind of, looking in the hallway to see what's going on, But, when we found out that there was an issue, with the guy moving upstairs, happened to be a black dude, you know, when I noticed something, you know, I called up to the apartment people, you know, the people we go pay our rent to. They're basically the landlord, you know. So I'll tell them, they say, oh, we'll look into it. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. We call again. We have to repeatedly call again and again and again, you know. And then when they didn't do nothing, we got to call the police. We find out for the police. They can't do nothing. We see the manager of the building. The manager of the building doesn't do nothing. Oh, they're just kids. They're not doing anything.
And then when it came to the whole rape threat thing, and they said, well, the police. This is what we mean. This is what we mean by the police doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
When we went to them about that, okay, and I had my speaker on so that he could hear them.
Okay, we went down to City Hall, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hearing them talking about us in the hallway, about us. Yeah, him, the dude who's trying to rape her and stuff like that, and then him and cahoots with the person that was living above at the time, Anthony. Well, they said, well, we would have to wait till they actually rape her first, or they attempt it first before we could do anything. And it was like, well, we can't help it if he thinks that she's a hot chick. We can't help it if he thinks that she's a hot piece of ass. So like that, we just can't help that if that's what he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's talking about, you know, in the hallway to his friends, to his buddies, stuff like that. We can't help that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, they didn't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Her across the street waved the gun.
The girl, currently, the girl,
currently, girl across the street waved the gun at this white couple with the baby.
No, it's a black couple. It was a black couple. It was a black guy, a black girl that was walking two dogs. They didn't have a baby or anything.
So it wasn't that same chick that had the two dogs at the baby?
No.
Did the dude
No. So what happened is there was a black couple, because I saw them, because I heard some yelling outside, and I was trying to find out what was going on. So I go to the door right there, the front door, and I look out to try to see what's going on. And I see that she's yelling at the black couple, and seemed like the girl was, you know, yelling back at her and stuff like that. And then at one point, shoot 'em up, bang bang. I've never really called it, but shoot 'em up, bang bang. The girl across the street, she goes in her house, and then disappears in her house for like, I say maybe 30 seconds. Comes back out, and she has a gun. And then the guy that the lady was with the couple, the guy was trying to kind of calm down the situation. So when the guy was yelling at her, then she was trying to point the gun at the people, right? And that's when we realized we're in the wrong neighborhood, just the wrong neighborhood. Because if people can do that, right, and point a gun at people, obviously this isn't really the place that we want to be at. Right?
Now, as far as I was concerned, like, what about all those people that supposedly that was black getting killed because, oh, they got a gun, or they pulled a gun out, and that, well, this person straight had a gun out, and she didn't get arrested, she didn't get thrown in jail for a couple nights for the safety of the neighborhood. Nothing happened to her. So I remember I called my mom, I was like, Mom, do you think that they're acting like, I'm wondering like if these black people are actually dead, or are they just taken and disappear somewhere? Like, what's happening with them? Are these people made up names? Are these like real people who people know personally who's been shot and killed by the police? And it's weird that I'm saying that, with me being black, because I'm only asking that because when I see it myself, the situation don't happen. Actually, nothing happened. Nothing. Just, oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay.
You mean when she came outside? Okay. Yeah. So I'm a back up. So after she pulled the gun on the people, the police show up. Okay. Police show up. That's when shoot 'em up, bang bang, girl across the street. You know, she comes outside with some glasses on, showing, shirt was showing cleavage, and then she's hiding her eyes. She got this toy. It's like this toy car across the street. It's like a I don't think it's there anymore, but it's like a toy. It's a toy car. Toy police car that's on her porch, and I'm not sure what that means. If she's supporting the police or whatever, I'm not really sure. But we noticed that she got away with it. Now, what happened after that, I think, is that I think that she came outside and she was, at the time when she was yelling at the people, I couldn't help but, look outside and stuff. So I guess what she thought is that we called the police somehow or another, because that's when she started her stuff up after she did that. That's when she started having people, parking in front of my car and stuff like that. She'll park in front of the car. She'll blast the music loud and everything and try to piss us off or something like that. And, I think it's because she thinks that we called the police or whatever. I'm not sure what the previous tenant that lived here, I'm not sure what his experience was. He lived here for like 6 years, something. But, we talked to our neighbor next door, Phil, and he says that the girl across the street been doing this stuff for a while. For a few years. She's been going crazy. So, I'm like, well, if he's been living here and seeing what the hell she's been doing,
So then we gotta. So then the police also don't do nothing if they have a crazy card, or if they're or if they got their apartment or their place of living through this program called Places for People or something like that.
Oh, you mean for when we lived in the last apartment where the white dude that was upstairs. And what happened is that how we found out was one of the police officers, first time we went down to City Hall, said, oh, and came out there, after we showed up at City Hall, and went upstairs, talked to him. And then the police officer told us, oh, he's crazy. So, he's mental. I know, because I've been on the force for this long, and I can tell people are mental. And
that's when they told us that there's no mental institutions, that people are just shoving mental people inside apartments. Yep. That's their mental institution now. That's where they stay, and they just shove them inside apartments.
Yeah, that's when we found that out. And that's when we got the idea that he was crazy, because, the police officer told us that. Now, the interesting thing is that this was the confusing part. That same day, that was when the police officer showed up, said he was crazy. But then they said, well, the guy said, the cop said, oh, well, why don't you talk to the landlord? Why don't you talk to the landlord about it? And we said, well, we've already tried to do that. The landlord doesn't answer the phone. So if the landlord doesn't answer the phone, this is kind of the resort we have to go to, because the landlord's not doing anything. And I think it was that day, or it might have been another situation, but I feel like it was that day where they was asking, the cop goes and gets in the car, and then somehow or another, the cop was able to get in contact with the landlord. But then he said the landlord was female, and she wasn't Scott, she was, somebody else. And I was like, and it turns out we found out, oh, well, the landlord is supposed to be Scott's wife. And I'm like, well, how is she the landlord? If we signed a lease with Scott, how the hell is that possible? So she's the landlord?
And the same person that claimed that, oh, you got to talk to Scott because I'm not familiar with nobody in this apartment. But when the police shows up, oh, I'm familiar with that guy up there. He's okay. Nothing's wrong. He's just an old man with a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard not one meow. Only cat we saw.
We never saw a cat.
The neighbor's cat that he was feeding.
That was trying to poison. That's what he was trying to do. He was trying to feed the cat. And then when he's trying to feed the cat, he goes around that house and then looking up at our apartment and shit.
And then looking at the two girls in their room and shit like that.
Oh yeah, the two girls.
Have a searchlight in another person's house.
The guy that was upstairs, there was these girls that lived not in this house, but it was in the house down the way. And he was at nighttime, we see him go outside. We weren't really sure what he was doing, but he was looking in the window of these girls, these white girls that lived in another house over. And it got to the point where I noticed there was a guy that was staying there, I'm not sure if there was their dad or uncle or something like that. But at one point, I noticed the guy being out there more regularly. And eventually he put a, searchlight out there to, see if somebody's walking past the place, because the girls was complaining that somebody was outside looking at them. Now, of course, the girls end up leaving. I think the girls end up leaving or something because, because they didn't feel comfortable. And this is a white man that lives in an apartment looking at these girls who he's not related to, he hasn't talked to, and he's just looking at them in a window, watching them when they get dressed and when they're naked and all that stuff. And this is a guy in an apartment. Well, you think, oh, well, if somebody lives in an apartment, they should be able to walk down to somebody's house that they own and then looking at their daughters and stuff like that.
Always checking to see when our blinds is up and we put the plant in the windowsill to get some sunlight. And always looking to see when we flicking the light on, going outside all the time so that he knows, oh, they must be home now. Let me go do my shit.
Yeah, and the thing is that how does this relates to the girl across the street or Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang? How this relates to her is we're in a house. So when we moved to a house, we thought, okay, well, when you live in a house, it's different from an apartment because you're renting an actual house and stuff, right? So that's what we thought. But she was able to get away with pulling the gun on the, black couple. They didn't seem to be doing nothing, just walking the dogs and stuff. And then, she goes outside, gets in her car, blasts the music and stuff like that. And then she has these dudes coming in now, I'm not sure.
Dude that was, y'all chicks' favorite thing, 6 feet tall, light skin with tattoos. And he was that person. And he came out.
At her house.
Yeah, at her house. He came out, got out of his car, white lady with two big dogs that look like dog meat from Fallout 4, two big dogs, and she's walking the baby, and this dude got a gun like this, and he's looking at her like this. He's like, and then goes in and Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang's house.
So
and then he gets yelled at, gets kicked out by her, and then he gets in the car and he drives off. I guess she wasn't interested that day, or he didn't have the money to pay for her services that day, or whatever the heck they usually be going on.
Yeah, it's really shocking the kind of stuff she's been, getting away with and stuff because, of course, when we first got here, before she was even a thing that we first had to deal with, there was just people sitting outside the house in the car watching movies, doing drugs. Of course, I guess they eventually, left after the police came a few times. They left after a while, because I guess they got tired of, the police coming up and.
But every time we talk about them, anytime we talk about them, like, oh, we ain't seen them all, they end up showing up. It's like you talking people up, how you say, oh, you talk to them. That's what happens every time we talk about them. And they ain't been there for so long. They'd be there that night.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
This was weird crap.
It was weird. I mean, the thing is that I want people to take away from this is that if you live across the street from somebody or somebody lives next door to you, it's important to be looking outside and observing what they're doing, especially if you're seeing them going in and out of their car and stuff like that, because it may not be innocent what they're doing.
Because the lady brought the Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang chick brought her mom over our house.
Oh yeah,
asked us for a cash app.
Yeah.
Then brought her son over our house, knocked on the door to ask us for I don't even know what.
Yeah, I think her mom did come over and stuff. I think I answered the door or something, and I think she was asking for a phone or something because her mama was Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang's mom. Came over, and the kid was hungry or something like that. And I really think that she was kind of coming over to see what we had in our house, pretty much. But I was kind of thinking, oh, well, we didn't really have any stuff in here. So I was like, oh, maybe something important, But then when it happened again, I think it happened again. And then I was like, I'm not answering the door. And then she sent her kid over here and stuff like that. A few times sent her kid over here and stuff, And the kid's a nice kid, he seems nice and honest, everything. The kid seems fine. But, the mom just seems like the mom and the grandma seem like there's something going on.
That's because she was outside on the steps one time.
The grandma.
The grandma, and she was just out there in the front with her pants down, and had this dude was just licking her and stuff in between the legs and stuff, and they finally went in the house. And I'm like, they did this right out the front. So I thought they'd be having hookahs right out the front with 2 kids right there, just right.
The girl and her friend.
Her friend, but then they ended up they had a friend breakup because Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang chick kept talking about how her boobs was bigger than hers, and she had bigger hands than her, and she looked better than her, and stuff like that. And heck, that chick would take her kid and help babysit and smoke hookah with her and stuff, and now she's gone.
Yeah, I think it's
She came
because
back.
I think it's the friend breaking up was because the light skinned girl that would come see her, she just seemed like she was trying to help her out and stuff and things, and she didn't seem like she was really trying to harm her or anything. I mean, the light skinned girl would come over, smoke hookah with the shoot 'em up, bang bang, and everything like that. But I think the issue was is that they got into it, you know, because it could have been the boob thing, or maybe
Yeah, 'cause
I think she was repeatedly doing that to her though. I feel
Yeah.
like she was repeatedly doing it because when I look outside, or I'll be sitting outside, like she didn't seem grateful that her friend was there to try to
Right.
help her out and stuff. Because you remember when that thing with the gas happened, where like something happened where the gas people ended up coming or something because there was a gas leak at Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang's house and everything. And then her friend showed up, you know, try to come get her and everything like that. It seemed like her friend was like a bad person or something. It seemed like she was trying to come and help. That was the same day that you tried to ask Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang, are you okay? And then she gave you that mean ass look and shit.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm just like, she can't say nothing to you, but then a couple days ago, I could see her speak to the lady next door, and I could see her speak to her.
What if that's her lookout?
Could be.
Because she spoke to her.
Well, but the issue I have with that is that she got into it with somebody that was over there. I'm not sure which girl it was that was over there, but she got into it with one of the girls. So I'm like, I don't know if that's really the case. But then again, there's usually that dude there. I don't really see the lady for real. You know, so I'm not really sure. But she drove the black car, but usually the dude drives the black car. You know. But the thing is that the reason you watch out and see people is because you have to know what's going on, you know, because here's what happened. There's just kind of one thing that made me more alert, and it was why we got the camera and everything. What happened is that Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang would have people parking behind my car or in front of my car. So what happened is there was a night that, you know, somebody was parked behind my car, you know, I was going to see her. And I was like, you know, I didn't really think much of it. But then the next morning I come out, then my back tail light had gotten like somebody had hit the back part of the tail light. And then I was like, what's going on? I saw somebody behind me, but why is this happening to my car and stuff like that? And then after that, what we did is, you know, NY Hero kind of had this feeling, you know, he's had this, you know, how you get a feeling that something's, you know, something's going on, something bad's gonna happen, whatever. So what we end up doing is that we end up putting the camera up. And then what the camera does is that it keeps watch for us, so we don't really have to really do much anything.
And boy, there sure was a reaction. The light skinned dude with the white chick, they was looking. The Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang and her guys that she had coming over, boy, they was really looking like, oh, we can't do shit now. Look to the camera, look. And they was like, oh, is that real? Oh, what? Look, is that real?
So then she sent her kid over here to I guess take a look at the camera to see if it was working and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I haven't seen the kid come across the street. Well, he came across one more time, knocked on the door. But of course, you know, I didn't answer. I'm like, why am I answering for somebody's kid?
And then she had this dude in his Volkswagen. He came here. He was here for a long time. This dude was here for like months.
He was here for about a month.
He was here for a long freaking time.
Okay.
And then he backed up, and I thought he hit her front. So I recorded that part. I hit the record event because it looked like he hit her front, and I think I still got that on the computer because it looked like he hit the front of her car when he backed up.
Mm-hmm.
Or he was. I mean, it could have been that dude because that was the only dude that's going around at the time.
Yeah, he was. Like, she'll have dudes that come and stay for, you know, a period of time and stuff like that.
Right. I just figured that might have been a dude that hit her tail light to the point where I had to fix the thing.
And then we had to figure out, you know, you fixed it with the epoxy, was just good that you did. But I mean, I think that's what alerted us to keep watch. But she did do something where she had one of the guys that she knows to come through our alley that has no reason to come behind our house and stuff to be looking in our backyard and stuff like that. So I think at some point, I'm planning to. I mean, I haven't seen anything happen recently, but you know, I say surveillance is important. This is why you have a camera, because you want to make sure that people are, you know, they're not doing anything against you because they can be doing that to you. they actually can be. Because if we were naive, going back to the apartments, if we were naive, we could be dead. I'm just really serious, because you don't start off doing anything. All you do is you go to work, you come home, you're just trying to chill out, and you don't think that there's somebody upstairs who's going to try to hurt you. You really don't think that they're trying to get in a fight with you and stuff. You know,
The first thing I noticed with that about Roseland, that apartment,
The second apartment.
the second apartment was that the first thing I noticed that was weird. I would do my jogging, I was acting normal, being normal, doing, thinking it's a good place, but there's this bald head dude with this bald head chick. And he was always outside every time we came home, every time we left. But that's not what made me start like looking and start looking. And we're looking out. What made me do that was when every time I spoke to him, he would just move like this. And he would lick his lips like, that's all he just kept doing. And I'm like, the fuck wrong with you?
Yeah.
And that's all he kept doing. I would say, hi, how you doing? And talk, to my people who's supposed to be black people, and talk to my people, because not everybody's like that. Not everybody's a stereotype. Black people, loud, obnoxious, and not everybody's like that. But dang, maybe 20% of us ain't like that.
Yeah.
Maybe 80% of us are like that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the person that's saying that not all black people act like that
is like that.
Maybe that person that's there, the exact person that's saying that not all black people like that, is the motherfucker who is like that.
Yeah.
Because they sure didn't say, well, I'm not like that. Now did they? No. So that's the first thing. After that, started piecing stuff together.
Yeah.
Bald head chick started talking about getting her cousins to fight her.
Yeah, and I didn't say
all type
nothing
of
to her or
crazy stuff.
anything. And then what happened is I think I was leaving out the house. I ended up dropping two of my cards or something, like two of my cards that I have for bank or whatever, for the banks, the two banks and stuff. And then next thing you know, I thought it was in the house. I thought that my stuff was in the house. Turns out I dropped it. And then what happened is I go to cancel the cards because I can't find them. Okay. One of the cards is one I really don't use. And then the other one's my credit card that actually I don't use that much at all anyway. So two cards I don't really use and stuff. So when they're missing, I feel compelled to go ahead and, just cancel them. So when I go to cancel them, what happens is that when we get back, me and one girl get back to the apartment, then what happened is we hear the bald head chick outside in the hallways laughing and stuff like that. I'm not sure what she's saying. I don't know if you heard. I don't even hear what she said, but she was just laughing in front of the door. Laughing in front of the door. Good thing is I canceled the cards.
Now I'm going to be the one to call Scott. Now I'm going to be the one.
And we're like, Scott.
Yeah, like
how can you call Scott? Nobody can reach Scott.
And why she saying it like to us, like we were supposed to, like we said we're gonna call Scott with her when we never said anything like that to her.
Oh yeah, that's because the dude upstairs and stuff. One of the things, the reason why I bring up people in the apartments, not just the main one that got upstairs, but the thing is that there's always somebody working with that person that's upstairs above you or somebody below you. There's people in the front looking out for them or something like that. There are weed buddies that they always have. Yep. They'll do stuff for the weed stuff.
You see them wearing each other's clothes. But the whole reason that I'm telling you about this apartment stuff is to let you know that it's prior experience that we have, and we're seeing the same attributes and personality with the girl across the street right now, who we call Shoot 'em Up Bang Bang, based off of her actions.
And the reason
we can just see that she must have come from there.
And the reason why I'm saying to look out is because if you live in an apartment and you happen to come across this video, the important thing for you to do is don't think that you can just ignore stuff that's happening. Don't think you can just do that, because people in the apartments are fighting against you, even if you haven't done anything at all. You may not have done nothing. All you're doing is trying to be a good person, everything like that, live your life, but you have people fighting against you and they pick you out, even if you ain't did nothing. You might, like Anwan, your hero, what he did is, all he did was, when it came to the guy upstairs, Anthony, first day the guy moved there, he just went ahead and told him, well, hey, we can hear you downstairs. It's not a vacant apartment downstairs. There's we live down there and stuff, so, if you walk lightly, we won't we won't hear you. You know, and NYU Hero, he didn't think that the guy was gonna go the whole 9 yards, having extra dudes over there, bringing chicks upstairs. Then, you know, the police come upstairs to talk to them, and then, you know, they get away with what they doing. There's girls upstairs with them and stuff, partying until like 5 in the morning and
Yeah, saying,
shit.
oh, that's just their kids and some shit. But then, so we waited till we heard them come down the steps, and we looked, and there's some chunky chicks coming down the steps like this.
Yeah, some black chicks it was some black chicks that was coming downstairs and stuff like that they had up there and stuff. And here's the thing. The more and more that we don't even do nothing, all we're doing is just watching, observing. But the more and more that we notice that, you know, black people are doing stuff. We know now white people do stuff as the white dude that was upstairs, second apartment. And you guys may say, well, okay, yeah, maybe that, you know, but maybe they'll stop leaving you alone if you move away from the apartment. Not necessarily, because when we moved to the second apartment, and one your girl was walking me to the train station because I had to catch the train because the car wasn't working.
I hate that one. I hate this one.
Right. So we were walking to the train station. And, you know, we had been doing that a few times, walking to the train station. And then this particular day, we walked to the train station. Seems normal. You know, the people in our apartment, we weren't aware that the second apartment they were doing stuff, you know, until we were, you know, aware, time passed and stuff. So we walk to the train station, we go up to the platform and stuff, where the train would be and stuff, where it says that and stuff. Train wasn't there yet. I go sit at, you know, we go sit at one of the benches, just waiting for the train. And then here comes, you know, we're sitting down, we're talking a little bit, you know, and he's just trying to make sure I'm there safe, you know, train. And then here comes this black dude. This black dude comes up, and then he's looking, giving me this mean look. I never seen this black dude ever in my life. I'm like, who is this dude? I'm over thinking, oh, maybe he's just crazy, you know. Maybe it's nothing.
Oh, you think it's a regular mean look? It looked more like this. Like that. Not regular, is it?
No, and then the thing is that the train came, so, you know, and one of your hero basically was like, well, you know, be careful, you know, something seems off about this dude and stuff like that. And here's the thing, I'm not there by myself. I'm there with a grown man. You get what I'm saying? I'm not just there by myself. You know what I mean? So I get on the train because I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to go to work, right? At this point, you know, looking back on it, I kind of wish I didn't go to work. You know, and I just kind of stayed home that day. But it was a new job. I wanted to, you know, be a good new employee at the job, show up early and things like that. So that's what I wanted to do. So I get on the train, right? And I go to the front. So the reason I go to the front of the train is because of safety. And it's basically because of something that, you know, I'm not going to say it's something where, you know, people told me to, well, it's not really, you know, friends or anybody told me to do. Really, my mom told me to do that. She said, if there's something strange going on or something like that, go to the front of, you know, if you're on a bus or train, go to the front of the train or bus or whatever, and sit in the front next to the person that's, you know, driving the train, tell them, hey, something's going on, right? So I sit down in the front of the train, and then here's this, you know, black dude comes up that gave strange, mean looks and shit. And the strange thing is what this dude kept doing. Because it's strange, because it was just, we were only two literally on the train with the exception of the person driving the train. So then what happens is this dude he's sitting up here, I'm sitting back here and stuff. Because he happened to come up and sit down in front and stuff. And the strange thing about this dude is what he kept doing is he literally was sitting like this. And he kept turning around and looking and smiling and shit. And I was like, what the hell? I'm like, something's off with this dude. So, something, you know. I was like, this isn't right. So I was looking at the thing on the train, and it was saying, you know, if there's emergency, text this phone number. So I was on my phone and I was texting, hey, you know, something's going on. I'm on this train. There's this dude, you know, just texting along the way. And, you know, I didn't feel like I could get off at the train stations. I didn't feel like I could get off the stops because I'm like, what if I get off at one of these stops and this dude gets off as well? So, you know, all I'm doing is texting. Somebody did respond to it. It was lady saying, well, you know, what does it look like? You know, have you seen him before? I said, no, I haven't seen him before. You know, what is he doing? This is this. And then she was kind of telling me, well, she's like, well, you can get off the train or you can kind of wait till you get to your, destination. I'm like, well, I might wait till I get off to my destination and stuff like that. She's like, well, you can alert the officers that's there and stuff. I was like, well, hey, this seems like a better idea. Now, what happened is before I would get off at the train station to catch a bus. The interesting thing, a stop before that, this dude gets off the train suspiciously. I ain't said nothing. I wasn't on the phone. And he got up a stop before I did. And I'm like, I ain't never seen this dude on this train before. All these times I was doing this for a couple of weeks. I ain't seen this dude. So they tell me, I go to the officers telling them what's going on when I get to my stop. Because the dude got off before that. I guess maybe he had a feeling or something. So I get there and I said, hey, there's this guy that was on the train. I go tell them. They said, oh, well, you'll have to report him at your own city or whatever because, it's managed by the county and this and other. I said, okay. So they say you got to go to City Hall where you live. I'm like, okay. I go there and tell them what happened. Turns out the guy that officer that works there says, oh, it sounds like a guy that we know. Sounds familiar. And I'm like, if this guy sounds familiar, how the hell is he able to get on trains and stuff like that, right? So, I go next time, get on the train next time, and I don't see the guy anymore. And I'm like, well, I guess they must have picked him up because the first report about this guy was from a white chick that she was being followed by the dude. And I was like, well, how is this dude able to get away with this stuff? You mean to tell me you got these people who are following people and stuff? And since I hadn't seen the black dude before, we knew exactly where, who the black dude knew. We knew who he knew. Do you remember who we connected him with?
Chubbs.
And Anthony. And what's the other dude? Lanky? Yeah. So we connected the guy with them because we hadn't seen we hadn't seen them before. And after we moved, then this happens. And actually, they were the ones, Chubbs, Lanky, and Anthony, they were the ones they would be catching the bus. I'm like, well, if they're catching the bus and they're catching public transportation, they're more likely not using the train and everything like that, right? So, you can't just think that people are going to stay at your apartment. You can't think they're going to do that or they're going to live across the street from you or you're in a house. You can't just think that because they'll end up at the stores, banks that you go to. And then, you'll be wondering, what are they doing over here? And you'll be wondering that. The point of the video is to just say that the most important thing to know is that if you live in a house or an apartment, if you live in either one of these, if you call the police to do something and somebody lives across the street from you or, next door to you, and if you call the police won't do anything. Now the time we've been here, the only time we called the police was on people sitting in the car most of the time. But the thing is that you have to watch people and know the police are not going to do nothing. Like shoot them up, bang, bang. She can wave a gun at people. A dude just came to visit her, can point a gun at a baby, a lady with a baby with 2 dogs. And these are big dogs, German Shepherds. And this dude can do that. And I'm going to tell you what happened after that happened. I was sitting outside. I think it was like last Sunday or something. I was sitting outside. And I saw the lady with the German Shepherds and the baby. And I saw the white lady. I was walking her baby and the German Shepherd. I'm just trying to make you guys get the point of it. But what she did is that normally she'll walk down the sidewalk, going down the street, in front of that girl's house. Well, what I saw her do is that she would normally, at that corner, she'd go, and turn straight down the street from the girl's house, walk in front of it. Well, now what the white lady does, instead of walking in front of that girl's house, what she does is she just keeps going up this way. She doesn't come down this way. She keeps going that way because she remembered the black dude that was acting gangster and all this other kind of shit. And so she's like, well, rather than deal with that, I'm just gonna, she had the feeling, oh, something wrong about that. And you have a dude that's gonna pull a gun on a lady with a baby and 2 dogs. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like that, I have a problem with that shit. I have a real problem with that. A real street nigga. A real street dumbass. How about that shit? If you're a motherfucker watching this and you're a real street nigga, if you're a real fucking street nigga, you need to clean your ass up. You need to stop the slave mentality. Because I don't think y'all real street niggas understand that it's by fucking design. That the white man has your motherfucking ass looking like that, acting like that. And y'all ain't getting nowhere. You ain't doing nothing but making it worse for your own motherfucking people. That's the problem. Because when the issue is that you got black people with stereotypes. You got the people coming and asking you for $1. You got the motherfuckers like she got coming out of her house and shit who come with these busted up motherfucking cars and shit. And, they're doing anything to get her ass in the mood, but they're not thinking about, oh, well, she got neighbors, so I shouldn't turn this music up loud. I shouldn't be parking in front of this person's house. I shouldn't be doing it. All I should do is that I should just be respectful. You know what I'm saying? If I don't live over there, I'll come and you can say, I'm just saying from the perspective of a guy. Well, guy can go and see her. They do their business and leave. Right? What's the point of bothering other people? You know what I'm saying? I don't get that. I know A1 Heroes kind of told me that it's because they're trying to, sleep with the chick across the street. So they're doing all that stuff. But what about when it happens to them? What about if they move somewhere and they just trying to chill out? Right? The thing for me is that a lot of times with black dudes look like idiots. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's Dan White Hero or my brother or my dad. I'm not saying it's that. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying the fact is that you got some motherfuckers as black people. And they clean house. I'm very serious. If you're a real street nigga or something like that, or you're a bitch like what she got across the street, they need to clean house. They need to kill your ass. I'm not even fucking kidding. I'm like, they need to get rid of your ass. Because every time we think about white people, oh, a white person, they can, they can be nice. They're probably racist.
I mean, shoot. Matter of fact, we was looking up on just websites for people that people who might need escorts or something like that. We was on there because we thought that maybe the lady across the street was one of them. So we was trying to find her on there. And kept seeing all these people, even black chicks, said no AA, no BM. We was like, what the hell does that mean? What's no BD? What's that mean? So it was no African American men,
no black man,
no black dudes,
no black man,
no black men.
Male. Yeah.
I was like, wow. And even easier, black chicks is even saying that, and they black too. I'm like, some of the white chicks saying that, you got Latinos saying that. Look at all these races of people saying that. I'm like, that don't make me feel very good to be a black person. I'm like, dang, I'm a black dude. Like, I'm a black man. I'm an African American man. Like, dang. To the point where they have to have a whole section dedicated to African American men that says African American men okay, or black dude okay, or black men
black
okay.
Black friendly, yeah.
Yeah, like, damn.
Yeah, and I mean, that does relate to it. I mean, we're seeing a lot of the problem with black folks. We're seeing a lot of the problems. Because, if you're a Christian, you're in church, oh, everybody's the same as you. They're trying to get to heaven, everybody's trying to, get to the same place and you're equal. I'm not equal to these motherfucking people. Of course, I'm not a Christian either, but I'm not equal to motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm not equal to them. And I understand it's going to have language because a black dude that's light skinned and shit like that, and he's pointing a gun at a white woman with a baby. If you're a white woman watching this, you might want to reconsider dealing with some black dudes because if you have a motherfucker like that.
Oh, they have. They said no AA, no African American men, no black dudes. And there's people who, these are the chicks that are doing stuff for money.
Yeah.
Even for money, they don't want to mess with you. Or me, us, I guess. There you go. I mean, shoot, I went on Reddit like, why are they saying that? And it turns out somebody already asked that question. It's like, oh, because this white chick said, oh, well, I got raped by a black dude one time, so I start saying no AA, no black dudes. And then this other person said, well, I got raped by a white dude like a couple times. And I was like, wait. So I'm looking around to see where she said, okay, well, does she start saying no white men, no African white men, no AWM? Like, wait a minute. You got raped by a black dude one time, and you said no black man. One guy ruined it for the bunch, is what she said. The next one says, well, she got raped by a white dude, but she didn't say one white dude ruined it for all the other white men, no. So that's racism.
Yep.
Because they don't add up. Because if one ruins it for the bunch, how come when a white man does something, it doesn't ruin it for the bunch for him? Nope. But it's still, they keep saying, I haven't seen any list that says no white men. I didn't see that.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, it's one of the things where you're right about that. How, the black chick gets raped by a couple of white dudes, and then she's still willing to be like, let me, I can still try to help people. Yeah. But then the Latino and then the white girls, oh, no black dudes. Or they'll say, oh, well, you can't be this age, you have to be 40 plus or something like that.
Or they'll say, no, this is what I know. It's like they'll say, no AA, no black dudes, only upscale. Then I started thinking like, wait a minute. When I hear that word upscale, the only thing I can think of is rich white dudes in mansions, rich white dudes in the big house, rich white dudes with nice cars, rich white dudes, period. Like, that's all I think I can think of when I think of upscale. I'm like, when they say upscale, what's the salary range are they talking about? As far as I'm concerned, upscale has always been a certain salary, like must make 6 figures, must make $80,000 plus. What does upscale mean? Must live in a certain community, must live in these certain cities. What does that mean when you say upscale? Because you say no black dudes first, then you say only upscale. So it's not like you're saying only upscale people, including black dudes, because if a black dude was also upscale in a good salary bracket, you excluded him first, even if he is upscale. So what are you saying when you say only upscale and
white dudes.
No black dudes? That's why I think
only
of that.
White dudes. That's what they're basically saying is it's just white men,
So that means that if it's only white men, when they say only upscale, they don't really mean the salary bracket. They just mean only white dudes. That's it. So white dudes are upscale.
Yeah, so what that means is that the dude upstairs will be upscale. Even though he's crazy and shit, even though he can do shit to the chick, right, kill her and shit, he's upscale.
Yeah.
That'd be upscale.
Yep.
We're not saying, oh, well, all men, you have to be this age or something. No, but no black dudes, no AA, no BM,
But if a white dude do something, you're not saying no white men. You're not saying that.
No, they're not saying that.
I mean, damn, I'm talking, the reason why this is why, because if chicks want to have sex with dudes for free, okay, it's usually 6 feet tall, light skin with tattoos, that's their go-to, that's the list they always look for. But this is for money, where a lot of chicks would do a lot of different things for freaking money. I'm talking about large amounts, like $500, freaking $600. So I'm talking about rent payment type monies for one visit.
Yeah.
And they won't even mess with you if you have that much money. This is something crazy.
Something to think about. I just think with black people, I just think that I feel like, black people that are, abusive or doing this stuff where they're bothering innocent people, trying to jump innocent people, ain't even do nothing.
Yep. Came home and there they were. Bald head dude, bald head chick, blocking the door. Dude upstairs, they was be messing with us and stuff.
Yeah.
Living with us in that apartment, same apartment, except he's lived above us. He's over there on the left side. We trying to walk home, and they all waiting on us.
Yeah.
Dude on the back of his car puts a freaking Coca-Cola in the back of his car like they about to jump us, and I got her behind me. When I put my lady behind me, they realized that I'm not fucking around
Yeah.
because I'm on to them. So I'm ready for whatever's coming after me.
Mhm.
Because if anything's going to come first, you're going to have to deal with the strongest one in the bunch, the fastest one in the bunch, and the one that's on to y'all since y'all been doing this to me since my Christian days, since for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I know the most about y'all little tricks. So I'm first.
And then the thing is that NYU was even talking to me when we was there. How this even started when we was at the first department, saying, you know, we'd have a plan. He said, well, if somebody comes in, this is what you do, you know, because we had a, you know, window on kind of the main floor so we can get out the window or something. He was talking about it then.
And I was right to have that plan.
Yeah.
Because it sure was trying to come in early in the morning at some 8 o'clock, 7 a.m. in the freaking morning. I heard the door knock. I heard it.
Yeah, they was trying to come in our apartment. And luckily it was locked.
I heard it, y'all. And so that's why we have those escape plans in order.
Yeah, and I mean, the other one, we could really jump out the top floor. We can't do that.
Nope.
But this is one of the things I don't like how you have black people that are ghetto, that are working with white folks, that are doing stuff to innocent people and trying to hurt innocent people. I mean, now when we drive past apartments in our area, we know why the police are there. Yep. We get why they're there and stuff like that. And this is why I encourage people, don't live in an apartment, live in a house. At least if you live in a house and stuff like that, you know, at least you're not having somebody that's outside your door when you're in an apartment. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a house, your front door, nobody is across from your front door or standing outside your porch or something like that. They're not doing any of that. You know, they go up, you know, go in the house. That's what we know about people that are in houses. You know, if they do blast music, they go in the house. They're not something where they're above you and they can stomp above you and shit in the apartment. They're not like that in the house. They can't do that. If they are on top of your roof, like what we heard from the guy across next door, Phil, then, you know, that's why you have a gun for. If somebody's, you know, trying to climb on your roof and stuff. He said that there was a naked white guy that was trying to get into his place and stuff.
And he said he was trying to do stuff with his chick. And looking at his chick naked in the attic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he said he had to stop that dude. Said he got his pistol out and dealt with them, but he didn't say shoot him. He just said, I mean, I don't know. He said dealt with them.
I think it's that you scare the person. I think that's what you do is you scare them. That's what I think it's about. But it makes sense to me why people carry guns at this point. I mean, now I understand, you know, because here's the thing. If the police are not going to do nothing about your neighbor, I'm not saying you got to shoot your neighbor, but I'm saying this right here. If you notice they have a gun, well, you know, in theory, you may as well have something yourself because the police ain't going to do nothing.
At least be on even playing field, like.
Yeah. At least because you never know how crazy, you know, somebody's crazy. You never know what they don't do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't, you know, and that makes sense to me why people carry guns. I've been to a couple classes on it and stuff like that. So I understand because that seems to be the only thing that will stop somebody is a gun. That's the only thing that seems to stop them because the problem is this. If you go on to some of these reasons why people carry guns and stuff like that, if you go on to some of these YouTube videos, okay, even if you go to a video or if you go to a, you know, concealed carry class or something like that, probably be a beginner one. You ain't got to be one where you get, you know, license for a gun or anything. But if you go to these, you know, videos or even a class, you'll find some people there that have went through some crazy situations, you know, and that'll kind of let you know why they're feeling that they have to carry a gun. We've been through shit enough where should we be packing some? Probably so. Because all the stuff, we didn't even do anything. All we did was we just tried to live peacefully. That's it. And, you know, it's like, you know, crazy people find it. You know, it's not your fault that the, you know, places for people put them in an apartment. But the thing is that police are not doing anything. So maybe, and this is what NYU Hero was telling me, maybe what happens is maybe people snap. You might have a nice person and they snap because their neighbor kept getting away with stuff that's in the apartment above them or across the hall from them. And they just get sicker. And then the only way they think they can do something is, you know, pow, pow. That's it. then they'll never have to deal with that person again because, they're not there to stomp over, stomp over them. And, the more people aggravate you, the more you're going to start thinking about ways to deal with them. You might think they're stomping over your head. You might think of breaking their legs and breaking their arms. And, you may start to think about that. The more and more they're getting away with stuff. But you really may feel hopeless if you're sitting in your apartment and you have people on your same level. And then somehow or another, everybody seems to be on cue and they slam doors. They're slamming doors, stomping feet, walking past your place and stuff like that.
But one night I couldn't sleep for shit because it's like my aura or my spiritual field or Torito field, or whatever they say that field you humans emit. I kept feeling like something was in it. Something was in my field of energy field because I was trying to sleep and I felt like something was beyond the bedroom door. And I was like, something's right there. And every time I tried to sleep, I would sleep and then I would feel it. A massive energy be right there. I'd feel it. I'd be like, I know it's there.
What did you think it was?
I thought it was the dude upstairs with the key.
You thought he came in?
Yeah, hell yeah. And that's when that's when I put the camera up because that was the most eerie feeling. And then when I finally felt it like calm down, I could have sworn I heard a click sound and a lock sound as if the door was locked the whole time. And I was like, oh shoot, my baby's asleep. Huh. So creeped out the bed and I put as much energy as I could in my body. I'm talking about I got my wrestling type of mode on. Like when I go to competition to win the medals, like I got that on.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking hard, and I'm as quiet as I could be, using all of my stuff that I learned from abuse to escape them, everything. Everything is on. And I'm like, looking, listening. And I was like, went to the door, unlocked it, looked
out the door.
Looked out the door, and I'm like, nah, something's out of place. So I shut the door, locked it, and I was like, nah, something's out of place, something's not right. So put the camera up. It was way too creepy for me. I felt that shit.
Yeah,
it was bad.
And we get one. I think it was probably because, and this was before before he went to those people's house. I think before that happened. Because I remember you was up and you was like, he was really alert stuff. I remember he was really alert about that and stuff. Do you think that he was in the apartment? Do you think that that's what happened?
Yeah, I do.
Where do you think he was?
In the house, because I didn't hear him upstairs. He wasn't upstairs doing his normal shit.
Inching on the floor in the same spot,
and banging around and stuff like that, and going in the kitchen, blah blah blah. He wasn't doing none of that stuff. I didn't hear him.
Yeah.
But what I did feel was that somebody was in that house at that time, and I felt like because the door looked like the way I was looking so hard because the door looked like it was open up a little bit wider, and then it would get closed a little bit. Then I try to sleep, my energy would wake me up like something's here, and the door would be open about that much. But it's so dark I can't see. But I can see the crack in the freaking door because the door is white, and I can see the dark space between the door and the side of the door.
Yeah.
And then it closed. Then eventually I was like, I'm getting up. So I think he heard the bed creak, which knew that I was getting up. And I was getting up nice and slow. I was trying not to make noise. But maybe I took too long, which gave him enough time to get out and lock the door back.
I don't know. How would that be? Because there was a crack, there was a sound with the door. It wasn't quiet. So I don't know how he would get.
He didn't open it that much, see? He didn't open it that much. It was like this much of a difference.
No, I'm talking about the front door.
I don't know.
Because that's what I'm wondering is how he would get into place. Because I don't doubt that he would be in the place because he had keys to everybody's place and he came out of other people's place.
Well, because we had to sleep with noise on just to drown him out.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be able to hear that shit. Because,
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't hear him if we had earplugs or anything else. but that something came across your energy field and woke you up.
Yep.
And that was good too, because it's not like we would have known, you know what I'm saying, that he was in the place. Like, that was really creepy. Like, somebody having keys to your place that's upstairs, and they say he's a janitor and he's not really a janitor. Something's wrong with that shit. Like,
but no, the sequence of events.
Yeah.
First was that I saw him. No, I think you are right. Afterwards, I did see him have a key to somebody else's freaking place.
Yeah, you did.
And that really made me put the fucking camera up. I couldn't.
Yeah, but the thing was that he was coming out of different places though. So it wasn't just those people's places. He came out of somebody else's place too, because he'd come up the back stairs and shit.
But I wonder if that bald head chick had keys to places too, because she had a key to the front door, the back door.
Yeah,
too.
she did have a key. And the thing is, she tried to lock us out and shit.
Yeah.
You know, like we didn't have a key to the door.
Yeah, we had a key to the door because we lived there, so.
Well, the good thing for us to get out of it was that if you're in a situation like we were, get out of the situation. Like, go stay at somebody's house. I mean, the thing that you have to do if you have an apartment is you do have to keep paying rent. You do have to. But go stay with somebody you know. I mean, I know it sucks to have to pay rent and stuff like that because, you know, for us, we had to break the lease to just leave because it was just getting it was that point, you know, it was just something going on with it. You know, and we didn't want it to get to what it was like last time, where like the first apartment was leaving, where somebody's trying to get in a fight with your family and stuff. It shouldn't get to that point. You know, I think the reason why it didn't get that far when we was leaving the apartment, the second apartment on Roseland, the reason why I didn't get that far was because my brother was there. And my brother has a conceal and carry. So it wasn't going to get anywhere because I noticed the people was nervous and stuff like that. Because my brother carries a gun and stuff like that. And for good reason too, because they kept trying to get around his mom and stuff like that. And they kept trying to do that. And I'm like, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, these people really think they're invincible and stuff like that. They really do.
They are invincible in terms of the police goes.
Yeah.
But they're not invincible for when somebody like us, like, this is how I can tell. They've been abusers for a long time or bullies for a long time. And they never had that fight that changed their lives. They never had the fight where their victim hurts them really bad to where they change and they don't pick on people no more. It's like they got away with their whole lives and never had that fight.
Yeah.
Because I've had
bullies.
I gave that fight to 5 different bullies and they was changed after that. Never messed with me no more. They was changed after that. Mm-hmm. So it was like I can just tell they never had that fight.
Yeah, and it sucks when you have to deal with a bully, you know. Because I've had to deal with, you know, I haven't had to fight a bunch of people. But it's one of those things where I'll never forget because I don't know where my memory's jogged at. But when I was going to elementary school, there was this light-skinned dude that picked on me. And this is probably why I don't find that attraction with light-skinned dudes. I think maybe this is why. Because there was this light-skinned dude that I went to school with. And I think I might have been in like probably 4th grade, probably. And this guy was picking on me and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, why is he picking on a girl? That doesn't make any sense, you know. And so, you know, I was walking home and I noticed this guy, you know, following behind me and stuff like that. And eventually we ended up fighting. I was fighting on the way home against his ass because I was like, you're not going to put hands on me and shit. Like, I'm not going to beat your ass. Like, you know, he probably got a couple hits in, but I was beating his ass the whole way. I'm talking about rocking up the hill, around the corner, up the hill, fighting and shit. But I'm like, the point is that maybe that's why I don't have that same attraction that girls do to tall, light-skinned dudes. Maybe I don't have that because I had to get in a fight with a dude that was light-skinned. I think if you have a fight with somebody and they're a bully and they look like what other people are attracted to, you won't find that person attractive. You just won't. You know what I'm saying? You won't have that same thing. So for me, because I'd get into it with that dude, you know, and it's not like I wanted to. It's because he hit me and shit. And I was like, hit me? What are you doing? You know? Like, I'm like, girls don't find it attractive if a boy is hitting them. They don't find it attractive. They just don't. You know? And if you have kids and, you know, you're abusive, you need to know that maybe your day hasn't come yet where somebody came to whip your ass. But it's coming, you know? And that's how probably the guy thought he can get away with it because maybe his dad or something like that. But he's black though. Why is it that it's always, it's black people, the same stereotype? I'm like, why is there that an issue? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, there needs to be some serious reform in the black community. And I'm not talking about going to church. I'm talking about getting away from that shit and looking at people's problems and trying to solve the stuff. That's what I'm talking about. They ain't got to be killed. It ain't like they got to do that. But it shouldn't be something where we're always a stereotype all the time. It shouldn't always be that. Because you got some people who are not people.
I haven't seen too many hip hop videos with white people acting like black people and talking what black people are talking about.
Yeah.
And doing what black people's doing to their women or to each other in these damn hip hop videos.
Yeah, no.
I ain't seen too many white people on World Star Hip Hop and acting like the black people are. I don't see that.
Yeah, and you know what? You would say that all the time, that people are just trying to get their world star, their moment where they can fight people. And it seems the case with these apartments. And these people, even though we live in the house, one thing that's good for us is because we know what to look for, though.
You know how
we're vigilant.
Yeah, you know how people quote scripture?
Yeah.
Well, they don't quote scripture. They quote rap songs. Like the bald head chick kept saying, "I'm that one." Oh, it's like she was singing a fucked up rap song.
Yeah.
And it's like quoting a scripture. I mean, you got script writers and they write scripts. They write the lines on the hip. It's like they're quoting the script, but it's like it's a rapper script. It's like they're quoting lines
from a rap video.
It's from rap video. It's just like it's like the same thing they're doing. It's just weird.
I get it. I get what you're saying because they do that.
Yeah, it's like that's what she was doing. I do what I want. It's her view. I don't fuck with you. And I'm like, what the hell is you talking about?
And I'm like,
is this not your own words? Is this not how you feel? Because the person who said that was Nicki Minaj in the song. So then, is this you talking, or are you quoting that to say how you feel?
Here's the kind of last thing I'm gonna say is about the rap stuff is that what I find is that it's really funny how you have black folks quote stuff in rap videos, because the funny thing about Nicki Minaj, Nicki Minaj said that in one song. Well, the funny thing that I found out when I was listening to the song, it was called, what was that song? I don't really remember the song, but I know it's on my phone, but I think it was a song where Nicki Minaj was in a song with this other girl. And they were singing about guys being in love, like black dudes being in love and stuff like that. And then at one point in the song, she was rapping about how she's paying for women to be on food stamps and, and get assistance and stuff. And I'm like, well, that's funny, because what she's doing is when she's saying that, she's over here, she's basically talking about the people who's quoting her music. She's talking about y'all energy assistance and, basically, I'm trying to think of what else that would be, where, welfare, food stamps, where you get your apartment paid for and stuff like that. She's talking about y'all. But you guys are not quoting that part. You're not quoting that part of the song where she's talking about y'all. And she's saying that, she's paying for your health care, and I ain't talking about that. Where's that part at?
They don't want to quote that part.
No, they don't want to quote that part because they know what it's talking about. She's talking about them. You know what I'm saying? And maybe she's talking about those people. Maybe she's talking about them because those were the people probably told her she's going to be nothing. They probably told her that. Those probably people that bully her. And maybe that's why she feels the need to say that. People need to know that with rap songs, it's not real. You know what I'm saying? That's what people need to realize and stuff. And, don't victimize people, try to hurt people. They didn't do nothing to you. You may just find yourself getting hurt or worse. Laying in coffin. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's just one of those things people need to understand is that victimizing people, you shouldn't do that to people because you don't know what the people are going to do to you. Sometimes people are going to get crazy enough to hurt you. That's what I think. So, if for anybody watching, if you deal with neighbors or whatever, I say just be vigilant of who lives in your neighborhood, who don't, because you never know if your neighbor has somebody doing stuff to you. And the reason you got to watch them is because if they're sending their kids over to your house, their mama over to your house and stuff like that, parking in front of your house, trying to piss you off and stuff like that, but it turns out they pissed somebody else off, right? The reason we're talking about the experience is because the people across the street from us, the couple that's white girl and light skinned black dude, we know where that's gonna go. You know what I'm saying? We know the situation because we've been through it. It usually only gets worse from there. You know what I'm saying? It usually does.
Because all they're learning is that she's invincible.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. That's when the dude made the face he made, like, what? What surprise? And then the girl, his white chick came out, what? What you mean you're not gonna do nothing? What do you mean she's not? She said, what do you mean that you're not gonna do nothing? That she's invincible? Like she can just keep doing this and get away with this? What?
The only
where that's going. You knew.
The only thing that means is if the Shuma Bang Bang is getting away with stuff, it literally only gets worse from there. I mean, I saw her go into their house before, but the only thing she's probably gonna do now is be worse or get one of her dudes that got a busted up piece of shit of a car, to try to maybe vandalize their car or something like that. Because usually with people like that, if the people feel like they can get away with stuff, if they feel like they can get away with stuff, they're going to do more and more and more and more stuff, in the point of, getting in a fight. And who knows what she's thinking. For her, if she finds out somebody called the police, she's probably going to think it's us. But, one thing we do is we just, don't engage, you know what I'm saying? Just keep living. If I want to go outside, sometimes I sit on front. Sometimes I sit in the back because I got a backyard. So I ain't got to, I don't have to deal with, you ain't got to deal with that person. They live across the street. You ain't really got to do that. You know what I'm saying? But we know for them, it is probably going to get worse because because the police ain't stopping. If the police isn't stopping that girl, it's basically telling her, oh, I can do whatever I want. And, doesn't matter. And here's the thing. Be leery of that kind of stuff because that girl has a gun. So who knows? She may have somebody go in their house and try to rob them or something. You never fucking know. Some people are crazy people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times the only thing that stops people is if they're scared or if you have a gun to stop those people. And then they'll reconsider the whole thing. Then they'll stop. Because if you're pointing a gun at somebody, then they magically think about it. They realize, oh, I can lose my life. Then they have that thought in their head that they never had before. And it sucks to have to say that, but I know for them, she's finally got her victims. She finally got the people and stuff who called the police and stuff. Because what she's going to do is she's going to have somebody that's reporting to her or whatever. She's going to have that person say whose house they showed up to. And then she's going to start sending her kid over there or she's going to get into it with them, and things. And the only way to really stop something, and there's a third thing. One thing that stops a person is you move. That's one thing. Or, you confront people. Like, for example, when that guy parked in front of the house, in my spot, one of the dudes she had over there, I think it was the dude with the Jetta, I was like, no, you got to move your car. For her ass can get outside and shit and feel mad, I'm like, oh, he going to have to move his car. I didn't tell her, I told him. I'm like, oh, no, somebody lives here. I live here. I got the right to park my car right here. And what's the point of you parking here? Because that's funny. Because when we was coming to look at this house, before, we signed a lease, nobody was parking over here. Nobody was doing that. She wasn't doing that shit. So, it goes to show you, for them, we'll kind of watch and see what happens. But, it literally only gets worse from there. That literally is the thing. Is where people feel like they get away with stuff. They think they can do things and stuff. That sucks. That you gotta be vigilant as you do, but I'm gonna kind of watch and see what goes on. But what I kind of decided to do is not pay the chick any mind. She turns music up and shit. Just ignore her and shit, because she only does it for a certain amount of time. You know what I'm saying? And then she goes in the house or whatever. But I hope that they, I hope that nothing else happens because we know where that goes because personally we've gone through it. And it's the suckiest thing and you go through it and stuff like that. Because then you try to tell people that your family members or something. And then they think, oh, you're paranoid. This and that other. So that's really what I have to say is I hope that the people are okay and that she doesn't try to do anything to harm those people or try to get people to jump them because we've had people do that to us. You know, I hope that that doesn't come to that for them. And then they can continue to be safe and live their life and stuff like that and things because it's nothing worse than you having to realize that you're living somewhere and you can't be comfortable. Anything else there? Okay, so that's what we have to say in this video. Who knows, we may have another video where we talk about the next thing the ship does. But I just hope nobody gets hurt because, you know, that girl across the street, she really wants to fight with somebody. She really wants to do that. And she really doesn't care. And that's the sick part about people. And I'm surprised that this girl can rent a place when she can't afford it. You know, because obviously she can't afford it if she's not going and doing the job. We kind of know because we're kind of seeing what she's doing and stuff. But it's sad that, you know, you can have government paying for an apartment.
There you go right now.
A girl, you know, having her rent paid by the government and she's over here attacking people. So I'm pretty sure that's her right now. So we're going to kind of, you know, get some rest and stuff. But we just kind of wanted to let you guys know what to look for and things like that. And maybe do a follow-up, but we're going to see what happens from here, I guess. You get it?
Go ahead. Maybe hit end stream.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. If you have any comments or anything you want to share, definitely comment below. We appreciate you watching the whole video with us. Good night. End the stream.